Welcome to another episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast. Oh, this is episode 239?
239, baby.
239. And Chris Salona and Ethan Shalloway are back.
That's what they tell me.
That's what they tell you. And we're energized. We're recording on a Thursday night before football because the weekends got busy again, and we gotta get it in. So we are sneaking this one in as we do sometimes, but it's going to be a good one. We're excited. Thank you all for being here and listening. I mean, let's get right into thank yous, and then we'll do. I think let's mix it up a little bit, Chris.
Yeah, let's start with gratitude.
Usually we do like a little, back and forth, but I just, I want to thank everybody that is out there listening. Usually, or not usually, we have a Patreon that you can support, and a lot of people have came on and off, jumped on the train, got off. You can get on and off at any stop.
Yep.
And there's 3 levels, $2, $5, and $10. So if you want to give $5 for 3 months, do it. And then at the end you can cancel it. We have no hard feelings. We've never publicly ousted anybody for doing that, and people do it all the time, and it's not a problem. And then when they come back, they send a message and say we're back, and we greet them with open arms. So a few ways to support right there. We also have merch that you can go buy, and Patreon's the best way to really support us.
Patreon's the way to do it. I mean, even if you want to give $2 for a month, you give us $2 and that's it. Yeah, just a nice little tip. We appreciate all of it. We especially appreciate our top tier supporters on Patreon, and these are individuals that give $10 or more every month. And starting at the top, we do have the dynamic duo of Abraham and Frank that are giving the highest dollar amount in Grunge Bible Patreon history. Followed closely behind, not far behind, but very close behind, by the Cracker Man. And the rest of the top tier over on the Grunge Bible Patreon, which I hope to see your name next on, is Carlene Salona, Jamie Lynn, Doug Endy, What the Fuck Is Up Denny's, Nikki Six, Black Hole Sean, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Eddie Vedder Got Me Through My Second Divorce, Sherry Matthews, Gochu John, Russell, King Buzzo Stole My Hair, The Michael Dooley Project, A Bit Dusty, Ultra Mega OK, and Heidi in Chains, and Looking California, Feeling Minnesota. That's the lineup. That's a strong postseason lineup right there. Talent up and down the board.
That's right. We don't need to call a bullpen in when you got these guys.
No pinch hitters.
That's right. Yeah, so I guess last time we recorded this, it was prior to the Phillies getting knocked out of...
It was, because we remarked that it would come out when things were settled, and... What a tough way to go out, dude. You were at a concert, you were at a PD show with Eddie Vedder.
Luckily, I had a lot going on.
And I was at home on the couch right over there watching the game, and man, that hurt. Like my Red Sox got knocked out in the wild card round, so I was rooting for the Phillies to go the whole way, and what a crushing way for that series to end. I mean, you hate to see it too. Like the pitcher, he had a little comebacker, he booted a little bit and should have thrown to first, tried to do too much, try to get the runner out at home. He wouldn't have gotten it. The ball was not going to get there in time. But he threw it off kilter, and that was it. I feel probably for any athlete that makes a mistake like that. That's tough. You never want to see that.
Yeah, he didn't touch the bag, so if it would have been a normal throw, they could have maybe. Oh yeah, so I've been listening to WIP. That's the Philly Sports Talk Radio, and they've been just shitting on the Phillies and shitting on the Eagles really for the last 5 weeks. But
the
Phillies, they were. The people were, they're just crazy fan base. And, the Philly, I was in the city for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we had the Equinox, almost all 4 teams, but Eagles, Giants Thursday night, Phillies, playing in their final game. And then the Flyers also started their season in, Fort Lauderdale, or they were against the Panthers. So
Panthers, yeah.
We went 0-3 for the night. Really strong showing. So I got into the city and met up with our friend, and we went to the Black Taxi, which is a certified absolute creamer
place to find
destination.
Absolute creamers. Yes,
really important. So we went and had a few Guinness and a few Guinness drafts, and we were watching the games. And
drinking it into form.
Yes, and we were trying to. We were in. I mean, it was a packed bar. And the Phillies were going on, and obviously, like, our pitchers, I mean, we can't blame the pitching at all. It was all our bats.
No, it was a 2-2 game or a 1-1 game into the 11th, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were up 1-0, and the thing is, we walked in. We walked which I guess that is pitching, but like, you know, we should have won 1-0 / like, I mean, if your guy lets up one run, I mean, you know, the
gotta score. With
our guys, our hitters, like, you got to be able to put more on the board. We got a gift. Shohei was like 1 for 17 for the series. I mean, there's so many things, and like, you know, the picture of JT Realmuto just pointing to first right before it started is just heartbreaking because, I mean, this is a play that I'm not saying it's second nature, but like, you know, if there's a force out at first and, you know, and got Muncy hitting, he's not really the fastest guy on the team and he's trying to get out of the box. I mean, it seems like obvious, but it's just like when you hear someone talk about an altercation in a fight and you're like, everybody chimes in and be like, I would have hit him right in the spot. Like, everybody's a lot tougher when they're not the one in the position. So like, I get it. You know, there's a lot going on and you just want to make the play. I mean, it's a 11th inning they were in. So we had to leave the bar, and the 9th inning was just finishing up, and I was like, dude, we gotta go. It was 9th inning and halftime. So we got to there for the beginning of Petey. He started playing a few songs, and they were going into the 11th inning, and Petey actually, you know, he talked baseball a little bit. He talked about how he hates the Dodgers, and he was really rooting for the Phillies. And then he said, you know, well, you know, if the Phillies lose, remember that life's, you know, it's not all about baseball.
It's more to life than baseball.
There's more to life to baseball. And he played the song, and while he was playing, they lost. And afterwards, he's like, did they lose while I was playing it? And everybody's like, yeah. And he's like, he's like, wow. He's like, what a weird coincidence. I'm really sorry, but it's okay, guys. He's like, we got next year. We always got next year. And he's like, you know, and then his Cubs, you know, put it to 5, and then they ended up losing too. So that's the thing. Everybody's feeling the same way at the end of the season, except for one team. So
it's only one team. You lose the last game of the season. It's the way it goes.
Yep. So anyway, we had 2 concerts. Went to Petey. They're one of my obviously one of our favorite bands. And you know, on this podcast or on the page, we tell people to listen to a lot of bands. Sometimes we mean it, sometimes we don't. You know what I mean? But this one, like these bands, like these are ones that
we mean it.
We're telling people, like, Petey is one of the best guys out there, one of the best bands. The band was super tight. Shout out to bassist Drew. He got us some tickets and got us on the list, and he met up after the show. He's amazing. So I told him to come on the pod, but he said, you know, he said maybe not. You know, he's like, I don't know what. It was like, dude, I was like, you know, come on, we're just gonna hang. But I totally get it. I mean, you know, people think that this pod is a lot bigger than it is, but we just want people to come hang. You know,
yeah. The numbers are private.
The numbers are private. Yep. And then but the next night I went and saw Delicate Steve, and I'm wearing a hat right now, and that show was incredible display of music, exactly the way I've been feeling the last 4 months about music. He didn't sing at all. They just played, they just jammed. His guitar was on point. It was a 3-person band, and it was just made me just love. It was so intimate. We were so close, and it was just like so simple. And it was like, you know, sometimes you don't need the big shows. You don't need the screaming. You don't need, you know, you just need to vibe out and have a good time. And that's exactly, you know, they had excellent Guinness there at Johnny Brenda's. I was really impressed. Came in a plastic cup, but it totally was a creamer. Totally a creamer. And it was just like a nice reset with music. I was like, wow, this is like just so enjoyable. There's no pressure. Like, there was so much room around you. Like, one guy tapped me and was like, you know, he's like, can I stand there in front of you? And I was like, oh, absolutely. I was like, I took the first half, you take the second. He said he claimed he was on a first date, which I think he was telling the truth. Yeah, there's a girl there. So I was like, oh, you know, congratulations. Like, this guy's a great guy. Yeah.
We go way back 6 minutes ago.
Anyway, so I just, you know, a little concert recap. Really happy I went. Spent a lot of time, like a lot of good food in the city. Saw some great pals, and it was just a reminder of, you know, going to concerts is such a fun use of time, and it doesn't need to be. You don't need to feel like you need to go to a stadium. Just go to the dive bar. Go to the Yips bar. You know, have a few beers and listen to some music, and say, you know, that was a really solid night, and then go home and relax. And that's what it was. It was beautiful.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad you had a good little concert stretch there. Yeah, dude, 3 strange days. Forget that. It's been 3 strange weeks around these parts. I feel like we've been so busy, and once again here, similarly, I spent this past weekend up on the mountain with the fellas camping.
Very similarly.
Yeah, it was great, man. Up there, a lot of good tunes. Got the fire going. Cooked a bunch of steak, had a bunch of whiskey and cider and everything. Had ourselves a good evening up there, and had a lot of friend time this weekend. And as it always goes, I was looking forward to this weekend having a nice low key, restful recuperation weekend, and that is not happening. I'm going to be following in your footsteps, actually.
Almost parallel.
Going to the city of brotherly love tomorrow on Friday. I'm going to see the Wonder Years for the 12th time in my life. They're playing a super small venue in Philly called Underground Arts. It's like a 250 cap venue. There's no rail, which is huge. That's going to be really awesome. I'd wanted to get tickets to this thing, but tickets were like $400 on the resale market because it's such a small venue, and that's their hometown. And our buddy Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce is going, and he hit me up earlier this week. He's like, "Hey, like, there's a ticket that's considerably cheaper than what you were seeing before, like if you want to buy it." And I was like, "Oh, dude, like I'm hurting. Like I'm pretty banged up from the last few weeks of activities." But once that idea percolated in my head a little bit, there's only one thing to do. You got to go. You got to go to the show. So that's what I'm doing. I purchased the ticket, and that's why we're recording on a Thursday night, because I'm hopping in the car tomorrow morning to go down to Philly for at least Friday. They're playing Friday, Saturday. I got to try to source a ticket for the Saturday show as well. But this is what you do, man. You spend time with your friends. You go to the show. You make some memories. Even if the sleep department is a little understaffed, and maybe the bank account isn't as plush as you would like it, but the memory bank is more important than the financial bank, and that's what we're trying to do. We're very wealthy in the memory bank regard, and we're always adding deposits as we can. So. GB is in flux right now. There's a lot going on with work, with life, with behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, all those things. But the one constant is that we do get together at least once a week to talk music, talk life. And that's what we're here to do today. Got a couple of different topics, some things that are coming across the wire, some albums to commemorate. Also, this day in music to commemorate, as we often do. This will be for October the 20th. And we have right at the top here, on this day in 1950, the great Tom Petty was born. We just commemorated the anniversary of his death a little bit earlier this month. He passed away in 2017, but today we get to commemorate his birth, 1950 in Gainesville, Florida. Cannot say enough good things about Tom Petty. Around this time, every single year, the anniversary of his death and his birthday, I always end up spending more and more time with him. The fall is such a good time of year for his Wildflowers album that came out in '94. I've been spending a lot of time with that, but happy birthday to the late, great Tom Petty. That is a quintessential American artist.
That is a very special birthday to commemorate. Yeah, I've been listening to some random playlists, and Learning to Fly has came on a few times, and there's just a few live versions that always will stop me in my tracks and make me just think, ponder, and just honestly, think about Tom and being a little sad that he's not with us, because he was spectacular, and he just put a lot into his music, and like no one sings like him. Say that about a few different people, as we do, but like there's something about Tom and his voice and the way that he would jam is like
something
so
about
fun.
it, man. Yeah, it's just perfect. So
while you were, sorry, I want to backtrack just a little bit, because I was looking something up while you were obviously talking about making the split decision to drive to Philadelphia, and it reminded me of this old chap.
Oh,
George
Strombolopoulos, the rhythm of the wheel.
One of my favorite quotes to stumble upon, and he was reading Hunter S. Thompson, I believe, but he quoted him, and he said, "Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, 'Wow, what a ride!'" And that's what it is, man. Yep, it's amazing.
In your own individual way, I think you got to commit to getting a couple of dents on the fender here and there, and maybe running that tank a little empty sometimes.
You got to be willing to drive out running on empty.
Yeah, dude,
Doctor my eyes.
Speaking of which, I was scrolling Instagram earlier today, and one of the photographers that we follow on the Grunge Bible account, I can't remember who, posted a picture of Jackson Browne, and they used Jackson Browne's song "The Loadout." And I meant to text you about it, but then like I got sidetracked and I didn't. But like, dude, "The Loadout" is such a good song, man.
That's amazing. I can't wait to listen, dude.
People
sometimes like
Jackson Browne.
We could have seen him, dude.
We could have
saw him in Red Rocks.
That could have been a Red Rocks. Yeah, that would have been our Red Rocks debut. But instead,
that would have been unreal.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, a lot of American icons getting thrown around. Tom Petty, Jackson Browne, Canadian icon George Stroumboulopoulos. But this next event, Ethan, I'll kick over to you. Another American icon was born on this day.
Snoop Doggy Dogg was born in the D-O-double-G in 1971. And, this guy's impact on rap culture in general. I mean, his second act, what he's been pulling off the last like 15 years, like, I mean, he basically was like our mascot for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy.
Dude, he was at everything.
Yeah, he was doing everything.
Like, every member of the Olympic team, like, regardless of what sport, like, had a picture with Snoop. Like, he went to, I don't know if he went to the training hall with the USA weightlifting team, but he spent time, like a considerable amount of time with them.
I saw him do a snatch.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I think I saw him do a workout.
Mary Thiessen-Lappin, like, who was one of the US Olympic weightlifters, like, taught Snoop how to snatch, which is awesome. Like, it's so metal. Yeah. It's so cool. Snoop is for the people. Like, he's the people's champ.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of ironic. He did a lot with track, and like, Sha'Carri Richardson was banned for smoking weed once, and then they like had Snoop Dogg doing everything. And I was like, okay,
smoke
this is
weed
funny.
every day.
Yeah, smoke weed every day. Exactly.
Man, Snoop.
Too funny. Well, happy birthday, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, happy birthday to the Snoop Dogg. We're going to move forward to this day in 1977. Not as happy as of an occasion as Snoop Dogg's birthday or even Tom Petty's birthday. On this day in 1977, the infamous and tragic plane crash for Leonard Skinner occurred. So Ronnie Van Zant, who was the lead vocalist, as well as the guitarist Steve Gaines, and backing vocalist Cassie Gaines, who was Steve's older sister, as well as the assistant road manager Dean Kilpatrick, passed away when their plane ended up running out of fuel, and it crashed in Gillsburg, Mississippi. Also perishing in this crash were the captain, first officer of that aircraft, Walter McCreary, and William John Gray. And this was, there so much tragedy, I think, particularly in the 1970s and in 60s as well, when it came to, bands or musicians going from, one place to another to play a show. And this was, at the time, the latest tragic incident, that occurred with this. And, Skinner, like, say what you will, incredible band. I mean, Ronnie Van Zant, he was the man, and they had an unbelievably great thing going. I mean, the whole Southern rock era, I think everybody goes through a phase where you hear Skinner songs for the first time. And as we say about some other musicians and some other songs, like, first time you hear like Tuesday's Gone or Curtis Lowe, or obviously Freebird or Sweet Home Alabama, like, you think to yourself, that's the coolest thing you've ever heard. And these guys were responsible for it. So we remember them today on the anniversary of their tragic passing.
They were extremely young. They were all in their mid-20s. And I remember hearing that, there was like the plane's last time being flown. It was like, all right, we just like, this is the final time, because they had some worries about it or whatever it was. But it was like, because I think one of the members like decided to drive and avoided it, and that's just a crazy story.
The older I get, like, the more it grinds me up when I hear and read about stories of musicians passing away at 25, 26, 27, because I'm older than that now, and I think about like everything that I've yet to do in my life and all of the aspirations that I have, not even artistically because I'm not an artist, but it's like, it's so little time, to only make it to 25 or to only make it to 27. It's tragic because, they lost so many opportunities and so many experiences, and them being musicians as well. Everybody loses something when somebody like that dies too young, and they certainly died too young.
Yeah, 100%. Moving to 1980, the band U2 released their debut album, Boy. And this was the start of something big. So what is it?
Oh yeah,
45 years
45
of U2.
years of U2 releasing music. I think Unforgettable Fire was their second, and then Joshua Tree was their third. There may have been one in between Boy and Unforgettable Fire. I'm not entirely sure, but U2, man. I mean, you can't talk about the 80s without talking about U2 from a musical perspective. And I know you and I have both had several experiences with this band, and them serving as the soundtrack to different events, and it all started with Boy, that first album, and they were certainly doing some special stuff, and I'm glad they're still around with us.
One of the main reasons we went to Joshua Tree.
Exactly, man, following in their footsteps.
Yeah,
that's pretty great, dude. One more event on this day in 2010. This is kind of a little bit closer to our wheelhouse because we remember this. But on this day in 2010, Lil Wayne's album "I Am Not a Human Being" hit number 1 on the U.S. charts. The album ended up hitting number 1 while Lil Wayne was in jail on weapons charges. I believe he ended up serving about 8 months in jail at the time. But dude, this album, the song right above it, like that song will always hold a special place in my heart. How
about just Lil Wayne in general?
Oh yeah, dude. Like there was not a cooler song to play in the high school locker room before a football game than right above it. Like, walking out to the field, the Friday Night Lights, that song playing. Like it still comes on like at the gym that I go to every now and then. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like it's still a heater. It's still so good.
Oh yeah, I mean Lil Wayne, like whenever he did, that was like the peak of like true collabs, or not true collabs. People are collabing now, but like, coming on and doing a verse. And like Lil Wayne, if he was on a song just doing one verse, you knew that he was going to crush it. And like he did every time. There's so many amazing verses when he comes on. Like he's like an OG, and you can always count on him being like, yeah, just being really good. Like he still is good on this stuff that he still got it.
Such a specific moment of culture too. Ethan, do you remember back in the day? Do you remember Uvu, like the video chatting thing? It was like Skype, but it was Uvu, and like everybody was on Uvu, like chatting, like in high school, like crushes and whatnot. And like I remember, like there were a bunch of filters and everything, and like I don't know if this is a specific experience. I'm sure it scales, and maybe other people know what I'm talking about. But like I remember, like every girl that I knew would always like on their Facebook profile, like they would update their profile picture to like something filtered from Uvu, and they would use the lyric from right above it, "Life is a beach, I'm just playing in the sand." That thing got a lot of play on AOL away messages, profile pictures, status updates. That one's sticking
stranglehold
around.
On the bio, on the bio department back in the day.
Yeah, it really did, dude. Like it was big, man.
It still is, dude. I still see that bias.
It still is, man. Life is a beach. I'm just playing in the sand.
What a banger.
Yeah, man.
So that wraps up this day in music proper. As you know, we get into other stuff that happens around this date, because that is the best way to pick topics.
That's what we do around here.
So, yeah, do you want to go with what do you want to go with first?
Yeah, let's talk about there's something going away. There's something that's beginning to go away here.
Should we just do farewells?
Yeah. Let's do some farewells here, some so longs, some sayonaras, some see you laters. But word came down this week that MTV is beginning to shutter several of their dedicated music stations in the UK. So apparently there's 5 channels that are going away, which were 24-hour television channels for MTV Music, 80s, 90s, and there were a few other ones. And everybody on the internet is being very nostalgic about this right now. And it's like, oh, like MTV's going away. And while MTV in the UK and in the US are still maintaining their main flagship station, none of those stations, the flagship stations, are music oriented anymore. It's all just reality television. So people are really beginning to mourn MTV as a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week music location with the passing of these channels. But I don't really think anything's like I don't know that people were still tuning into 24/7 MTV for their music anymore. It's just like the way things went. It's like it's an outdated technology. And this is what's happening. And we discussed this earlier, but in your hometown, there's that restaurant that's been there for probably 20, 30, 40 years. Like, it's fine. The biggest asset that it has is that it's been there forever, and that at one point it used to be good. At one point it used to be good, and at one point it was the only game in town, so everybody went after school or Friday night to the pizza shop or whatever. They were first. And you can either cheat, you can be smarter, or you can be first.
All the cliches are coming out,
and we don't cheat. And while I like to think we got a lot of smart people, it's a hell of a lot easier to be first. And when that local restaurant goes away, people who haven't patronized it in 15, 20 years are like, oh my God, I can't believe they're closing. They're the reason it's closing. So with MTV right now, everyone's like, oh, I can't believe they're closing this. Like, you're the reason why it's going away, because you don't consume it anymore. I mean, I don't consume it either, but I'm not sad that it's going away. Yeah. It could have gone away 20 years ago and I wouldn't have paid any mind. It did go away. Yeah, exactly.
It peaked. And I remember watching it a little bit through high school, but after that, it died. And
not everything has to stick around forever. That's the other thing too.
And it's dying its second death now. And now we can finally wash our hands. I'm not saying I'm not sad, but it's not been relevant for 15 years, and that's fine, right? It had its run. The nice part is it did what it was supposed to do. The people at MTV should be able to sit back. Well, Mr. MTV and the people that work in there, I'm sure, they got laid off the last year to try to save it. Yeah. But Mr. MTV, he broke Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's incredible. I just read that in July 2025, they averaged 1.3 million viewers, while MTV in the 90s drew around 949,000.
So there's more viewers now?
No, there's more viewers, 400,000 more viewers. But this is in the 90s, it was almost at 1 million views. And so now it's
flatlined for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, that's barely any growth. I mean, that's...
Yeah. You know what this is analogous to? It's not getting any better. Ethan, when you were a kid, were you a Sports Illustrated house growing up? Did you get Sports Illustrated?
We didn't have a subscription because but you could get them at the library and rent them out. And
absolutely. So it's the
somebody had them in school when I wanted
always.
them,
Yeah, it was the same thing. When Sports Illustrated lost a bunch of steam. I was kind of sad about it, but I'm like, well, I don't subscribe. I don't consume it anymore. So I'm complicit in the demise. So I really can't be that upset about it. It's the same thing.
It is.
Print magazines, Spin, roll all the cream.
I miss the newspaper.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean,
I'm just doing the Sunday crosswords.
Yeah. Not everything is going to stick around forever. And it's better that it existed and it revolutionized, the way that people consumed and discovered music. And that's more of an accomplishment than it would be just hanging on to this carcass of something that's reminiscent of days gone by. I honestly don't see the big deal about MTV shuttering these channels, but people just like to be nostalgic and to be sad, and it's a lot easier to say that you support something after it's been decided that it's going away than it is to actually actively support something while it's here.
Yeah, I'm surprised more TV programs are not shutting down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't watch linear television unless it's sports.
There's
I'm not watching. Yeah,
exactly.
And my only exposure too is if I'm watching a sporting event like CBS, Fox, or whatever, for baseball, football, whatever. Their commercial breaks, they're always advertising their television shows. They look terrible. If I see one more fucking commercial for the reboot of Matlock, we're gonna have a problem, dude.
Well, get ready. You're gonna see that on Sunday.
We're gonna have a big problem. I don't know. Just nothing lasts forever, and that's okay. And I think that's the lesson that we need to learn from MTV's 44-year run of 24/7 music coming to an end.
Yeah, not 24/7 music, that's for sure. Recently, but like, I'm and I'm speaking. I'm definitely over my skis here and saying where their social.
That's the whole
media
point of this podcast, though.
Yeah,
is
saying where their social media presence is. But I am a little surprised that they couldn't have found a new avenue in the last 15 years to take advantage of. Like, SNL is one of those things. Like, do people watch SNL on Saturdays, like Saturday late night?
I think so. I still think people watch it.
They do, but what really drives them right now is YouTube clips, because they put everything. Absolutely. Like, you don't need to watch. People watch it, but they usually take it in short bits, and like they have a huge presence on YouTube that is basically able to
you gotta
sustain
stick with
them.
the times, or you will die.
Yeah, like they are. I mean, it's totally viable because they moved. And I'm surprised at MTV. Like, I mean, they haven't figured out like small shows or something to be able to do. And like I said, I haven't done the research on that. Maybe they do have something, but it just didn't work.
Do you know what this basically is? This was like MTV was losing Jason Giambi, Johnny Damon, and Jason Isringhausen, and they didn't recreate them in the aggregate. They tried to go out and get 40 home runs and 140 RBIs. Like they didn't focus on getting on base.
You got to look to the farm, dude.
Exactly. You got to look and find value where nobody else does.
Look within. Yeah. there is no parachute coming to save you.
Yeah, dude. No one's coming to save you. So you won't catch
Alex
us mourning. No, exactly. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you won't catch us mourning or making a post about the disappearance of MTV. I just thought it was an interesting point of commentary that we needed to discuss.
It's one of those things where, you'd expect us to come on and be sad, but we wanted to zag and say, you know what?
Yeah.
Good.
And it wasn't even for the sake of it wasn't even for the sake of zagging. Like, we legitimately do feel this way. Like, the MTV was never my game, and like I don't at this point it is no longer an essential avenue for music.
Do you remember East Bay magazines?
Dude, I fucking loved East Bay. Okay. Like, I used to get that.
Did you ever buy the shoes?
Dude, I did. I purchased a couple of things from I purchased a couple pair of basketball shoes because you used to be able to customize them and like get your name on them. Oh man, they were so good.
East Bay magazines are great, but when they went away, I mean, it was sad for a little bit, but like we're just happy. We're just happy that we lived through it and through the excitement. Like, you kids, you adults now, but the kids that lived through the MTV heydays, I'm jealous.
Yeah,
at least
too.
you guys got that, and there's plenty of pros and cons from being teenagers in the '90s, but we don't need to go into that. But like, you guys had the MTV experience, so like, I mean, good for you guys. Very happy. I mean, that's prime time to be watching, television, music television at 4:30 in the afternoon and being affected by it.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know if that's possible when you're an adult now.
Yeah, Kurt Loder will not be coming to save you. He's not walking through that door anymore.
Kurt Loder, he's
in his 80s. 80. Yeah,
he's like 80s.
He's not young anymore. I guess we're not young anymore either.
Oh yeah,
such as
we die young.
Oh, dude, whatsoever I feared has come to light. Whomsoever I've cured, I've sickened now. So that's our long-winded obituary for dedicated MTV music channels.
R.I.P. in pieces.
Yeah, R.I.P. in several discombobulated pieces. We have a couple albums that have some anniversaries here that we need to do our due diligence and discuss. This episode is coming out on October 20th, and on the 19th, one day before this episode is released, we have a pretty notable album anniversary, and that would be the 32nd anniversary of the release of Pearl Jam's second studio album, Versus. It was released, it saw its widespread release on October 19th, 1993. It was released a week prior in the UK alone on October the 12th, I believe. But, things really kicked off. The party really kicked off on the 19th. And this stat still boggles my mind. And I know it's been one-upped a couple of times since, but in the first 5 days that Versus was out on the market in the United States, it sold 950,000 copies. So they almost went platinum in 5 days. And since then, I think it's like 12 or 13 times platinum or something. But what just an absolutely staggering amount of units to move in the first 5 days. And we always talk about debut albums and we always talk about follow-up albums. And we did a dedicated episode on Verses back in the day. You can audit our episode history, but just talking about the pressures that the band was under at the time, exploding in 1992, going back into the studio to make the follow-up to 10, and hitting it out of the park with all of the pressure that Eddie Vedder particularly felt to deliver something. I don't think you could have asked for a better second Pearl Jam studio
This is back-to-back
album.
Titles, Chris.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
Not easy to do when you do it. Like, 2 in a row. This is an excellent follow-up album.
So for those keeping score at home, a quick editorial note. We did our album review way back on October 24th, 2022. That would be episode number 83. So you can go back. That was back in the Snowball microphone era.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. But that was, we went song by song. We gave, the whole recap, everything. And yeah, dude, there's so much mythology around that Verses album. They got
for
set
them
up
and for us.
Yeah, they got set. Yeah, absolutely. They got set up in such a nice house that they retrofitted into a recording studio. And Eddie Vedder, it was too plush for him, so he took his pickup truck and he went downtown and he slept in his pickup truck for a few days to try to get in contact with his emotions and his anger. And it certainly came out. This might be the angriest Pearl Jam record. Coming, I think this in Vitalogy is, thinking about Not For You and different songs like that. But the Verses is really, really unbelievable. It was also the first studio album that they recorded with Dave Abbruzzese strumming. Dave Cruzen did the drumming for 10. So this is I think what a lot of people think of when they think of Pearl Jam sound, they think of, what the band was like in 1993. There's some great touring moments from the Verses tour. In 93 and 94. But the track list, dude, it's still, all these songs still hit right from the jump with Go and Animal. And you get some acoustic, some Daughter, Glorified G, which we've always been close with. Dissident obviously has saved our lives many times.
Every one of these songs have been texted, obviously Rear View and Elderly and
Leash, dude, even Blood, Rats, dude.
Yeah, Rats.
Yeah, man. Even the reissue, the bonus track, Creedy Stomp, is a favorite of mine. Dude. I remember back when I was powerlifting, and I had deadlift days, I would always hammer Creedy Stomp, and it would take me where I needed to go. But yeah, this is top to bottom, this is such a solid effort, and I really don't think there was a creative letdown or an intensity letdown for this band for the first several years of their existence, and certainly for their first several albums. They were able to redline it for so long, and I think this is the era that people, knee-jerk reaction they think of when they think of Pearl Jam, putting it together on an album like this. So 32 years ago, man, long time.
32 years ago. This is at the peak of their powers. They're touring with all of 10, all of Verse, and they're even getting into Vitalogy and some of this stuff, and they're just they have great songs to pick from now. Obviously they have more, but talk about it, just a great time to see your favorite band. So
absolutely, I'm jealous of everybody in the same way that I'm jealous of vintage MTV. I would have loved to catch a show on the Verses tour. That would have been pretty damn cool. So we can celebrate
Dave on
that.
Drums.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, Dave Abbruzzese was the best Pearl Jam drummer.
Touring on drums.
Hey, he's not in the
Rock
Hall of Fame. There's some things you
can count on. Yeah. Oh man. All right. So in moving ahead 2 years to 1995, 2 years and 5 days. That is, Smashing Pumpkins released their third studio album, Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness, and this is definitely. Smashing Pumpkins they get a lot of flack. I think Billy does, but they were massive, but they still are really, they still are really big. They're still doing it, and they're making. Yeah. They have such a unique, beautiful sound, and this album, this album was songs. Everything.
28 songs. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, that's a little much, Billy. That's a little bit much.
The Korg got a little overzealous here in 95. But once again, dude, I mean, to go from Gish to Siamese Dream to Mellon Collie, I mean, that's three titles in a row. That's a dynasty right there in and of its own self.
This this set list, I'm just looking. It's like a Scrabble board with all these.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
XYU and Fuck You and Ode to No One.
Yeah, man.
Cupid de la Galapagos, dude. Jelly Belly Zero.
You're a big Porcelina Vast Oceans guy, right? That's one of your tracks, isn't it?
It's so good. It's 9.5 minutes, and it's like, I think that,
dude, you know, Stumbling, come on,
little Smashing Pumpkins riff right here, but the way that they can create an atmosphere and a sound and some of their bigger stuff, like, I mean, it's very orchestral, and they released an album like a year or two ago, and it's way different than some of the older stuff, you know, but it's really solid. Like, it's great. Well, and it just creates this atmosphere that like you're watching a performance when you're listening, and like
big time. We've
talked a little bit about how bands kind of move into that stage, like say the Killers or U2 or, you know, Coldplay, or those are some of my guesses of what they're going to do, but like they get this like bigger sound and they fill it out because they have the money to get like bands and orchestras and all that. You can't just do a 4-piece band. And I think Smashing Pumpkins, like, I don't know, it's amazing what you can do with all the money in the world to create big sounds, I guess.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, we talk about a lot of bands from the 90s on this podcast, but most of those bands cannot make a legitimate claim that they created the song of the 90s. And in my opinion, 1979's got to be on the very short list for songs of the 90s, and that was on this record. You know, I don't think, you know, I really can't think of many other songs that could measure up against that, just capturing that, you know, the youth, the nostalgia aspect. And it's interesting too, because
they are the nostalgia band.
Yeah, 100%. And it's been 30 years now, and like each subsequent generation since then has like claimed that song and has used that song. Like I think a couple of weeks ago, I went down a rabbit hole talking about the old alternative rock station here in Providence called WBRU, and like I tuned in like the last night, and like that was one of the last songs that they played, and like that was DJ'd at the time by like a bunch of 20-year-old college kids, because like it was a college radio station. So like, you know, the 20-year-olds in 2018 were relating to it the same way that like the 16-year-olds in 95 are relating to it, in the same way that, you know, 10 years from now the teenagers will be relating to it. Like that, it just makes something timeless and make something that's so unique. You know, that takes a lot of talent, and I think a little bit of magic too. And there's a lot of talent and a lot of magic up and down, you know, the project for Mellon Collie. I mean, even songs like Tonight, Zero, Bullet with Butterfly Wings, obviously. To Forgive, I think, is another great song. 33. You know, there's Bodies, I'm not the most well-read on Smashing Pumpkins, but just like reading their track list sometimes on the albums, I'm like, man, like those all came from the same album. Like I forget sometimes. And it's a good reminder of just how great, you know, this band was and what they were able to capture.
Yeah. Really, really good musicians, a part of it. I mean, Billy
Jimmy Chamberlain, drummer, one of the most underrated drummers, I would say. He's just absolutely top notch. He's incredible.
Yeah, they did awesome. I'd like to get to a show. They played in Philly a couple of years ago, and one of my cousins went, and he was like, can't stop talking about, he talks about Fish first, but Smashing Pumpkins are actually really, really solid. Like, I think that they would put on a really good show. So they're on my list. They are.
Yep.
Because they're still kind of doing it at a high level.
Yeah, I would say so, for sure.
Like them, and I mean, obviously a Pearl Jam show is always going to be great. I mean, these guys they're not that old, so it's a good time to go see them.
Absolutely. And I think Billy Corgan's voice is aging well too, like, for what it is. So,
well, what it needs to be too.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a good voice to age.
He's still just a rat in his cage, man.
Despite all of his rage.
Yeah, despite it, dude.
Despite all
30
of
years
his
of
rage.
rage. So very important to commemorate those two records on their 32nd and 30th anniversaries, respectively. I know that by the time this is out, I'll have gotten a bunch of Versus posts up into the world, and a couple days' time, we'll give Mellon Collie its due as well on the page. But good time to talk about it here today. So, we've run the gamut here. We had some new news, some old news, and some news that's a little bit in between. So we'd like to thank you for listening, for joining us for the last 45 minutes or so, just talking about all this random shit. This is what we're here to do. We're threading the needle with this podcast recording, as we said. We're heading back out into the world bright and early after we get this done. But we'd like to thank our producer, Drew McFadden, as well, for all of his work on this project every step of the way. Ethan, I would like to thank you. And I think before we get out of here, we can select a song a piece to add to the Songs of the Week running list that we have.
Absolutely. Would love to. There are a few different songs.
Yeah, I don't know where I want to go with this, because I've been all over the board, and I've been heavily attached to a lot of different music lately.
Yeah, it's almost, I feel like I just want to go with something easy, something probably people know, but
yeah.
I actually commented on your Instagram post. I commented Dire Wolf.
Yeah, you did.
Grateful Dead song, and it's been pretty great. Been listening to it here and there, sprinkling in some Dead, kind of getting a little deeper, mainly because I found out that Hornsby was in it, Bruce Hornsby's in a few different few years. So it's amazing who's played with them throughout the years and the different bands they assembled.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Dire Wolf, it's a great song. There's a lot of great live versions. So I'll let you guys
choose your own adventure.
Yeah, kind of choose your own adventure. Yeah, pick your favorite time.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm gonna lock into that.
It's a good song.
It's find one as well.
It's the lyrics. I don't know if you've ever looked up the lyrics, but like
I don't think I have.
let me what's the word? Patronize you real quick.
Yeah, please. I'm ready to be patronized. I'm ready to be to be
because I did look him up. Basically he's like, in the timbers of Fenario, the wolves are running around. The winter was so hard and cold, froze 10 feet beneath the ground. Don't murder you, I beg of you, don't murder me. Please don't murder me. And he's like, I sat down to my supper. 'Twas a bottle of red whiskey. I said my prayers and went to bed. That's the last they saw me. Don't murder me, I beg of you, don't murder me. When I awoke, the dire wolf, 600 pounds of sin, was grinning at my window. All I said was, come on
my
in.
Goodness.
Don't murder me. Said the wolf came in. I got my cards. We sat down for a game. I cut my deck to the queen of spades, but the cards were all the same. In the backwash of Fenario, the blackened Buddy Meyer, the dire wolf collects his due while the boys sing round the fire. Don't murder me, don't murder me. I beg of you, don't murder me.
Please don't murder me.
It's a campfire song.
It sounds like it's about experience in general.
I'm sure you were worried about the dire wolf a little bit last week.
Dude, I was a little bit. You get to a certain point in the night of consumption, and you start hearing things out in the on the mountain there. It's can get tricky up there. That's all I'll say about that.
Oh yeah. Luckily, you have your sleeping bag to go back to and feel the comfort.
Dude. I get to recharge, man. Dude, camp is huge. Camp is such an important thing.
It is.
And everybody needs to find their camp.
Your turn.
Yeah, it's my turn. I am going to return to the mountain for my selection, and I gotta say, so we spent a night up on the mountain. It was myself and 4 of my buddies, and my one friend Tom. I will say, out of anybody that I know, Tom is the best when it comes to being on the aux and curating an appropriate vibe for the setting. Like, he is just like, he's in a constant flow state when it comes to that shit. So we got up on the mountain, we summited the peak that we were at, and then we found a spot a little bit below the summit to camp. We got set up, gathered our firewood, started building the fire, set the tents up, started cooking. We heated up a bunch of apple cider and made apple cider whiskeys. We're sitting by the fire, and he's on the aux, obviously, because that's just what he does. Like, it's like prime Michael Jordan type shit. And he was hitting them. Like, there's so many places to go to, but the one song that's sticking in my mind that he played, that like it was deep enough in the night that we were all like, yeah, like this is the one. He played "Shame on the Moon" by Bob Seger, and dude, I don't know, man. Like, it's not my favorite Bob Seger song, song, but like in that time and place, like it hit completely perfectly, and it was stuck in my head the entire night while I was trying to sleep. And then the next morning on the way down, we were hiking down. I was just like humming it to myself all day, and it was great too because like it was a good moon that night. It was a pretty clear sky, and it was exactly what we all needed.
Shame on the moon. That's amazing.
Dude, shame on the moon.
Anytime the moon is involved, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, 100%. Like
especially when camping.
Yeah, so that's just what we needed. Blame it on midnight. Shame on the moon, man.
That's amazing, dude. The dire wolf blames it on the moon.
I feel like we both kind of hit a very similar vibe with our songs. They would have been. Yeah. I wish we got some dire wolf up there. Yeah, 100%.
Those two are going on our next camping playlist.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's my song of the week, man. I think we're in a good spot to leave it there.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week. We'll try to do better. We'll see you then. Thank you again, Drew. Thank you, Chris.
We'll see you guys later. Hansa.
Peace.